Today I'm here with Dr. Vanessa Montañez. She has an amazing story, and I am so excited to share her journey with you. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you, Marcia. It is an honor to be here, celebrating mPower with you in beautiful Philadelphia. So thank you for this opportunity.
We've known each other for a long time, and I'm so excited for people to hear your story. And you're now at City National Bank, where you're the SVP of Community Lending and National Sales. But you didn't start out at the top. You started out really working your way up through this business. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Absolutely. So I've been in residential lending 28 years, and it's gone by so fast. And it's really an incredible opportunity to have this career where you're able to build generational wealth for others and really help build that American dream. Because when you help that one individual or that family buy their first home and that look of satisfaction, you can't get that anywhere else. So I've never looked to go anywhere else but doing this career because the impact that you do, it's just priceless. But I started my journey when I graduated out of college. I got a recruiter say, hey, do you want to get into the finance industry? I'm like, sure. I had nothing better to do, and I had studied business. So I worked at a subprime lender called Beneficial. And Beneficial was all over the United States back then. It's no longer in business, but really they were a subprime lender, but they were from A to Z. They did everything from credit cards to personal loans to auto loans to home loans, the gamut, even collections, solicitations, mailers. So it really brought a broad perspective of how robust the financial sector was. But I would always gravitate to home lending because it was home ownership. From there, I did well that I went into Countrywide Home Loans. And at Countrywide Home Loans, it was a call center, so you got to do all 50 states. And I was like, wait a minute, I can lend in every state, yes, but it was through the phone that you had to build rapport. So when I first started out, I thought I could do it. Wrong. I did every possible mistake out there. I was with the wrong rates, the wrong state, a program that wasn't available in California. I was giving it, just every possible mistake. I don't know how many thousands of dollars I cost the company at the beginning. So my boss is like, listen, kid, if you don't get your act together, you're going to be out of here. I'm like, wait, just do it. I got this. Give me 2 weeks. I promise you. So for those 2 weeks, I killed a lot of trees. I printed out every guideline, and I took it home in a big binder. So I was there with my highlight, looking at this when I got home, when I was at dinner. I was just like back at school, reading every guideline, understanding, and then it hit me. I'm like, oh, I got this. So at that point, I started back at the call center, and I worked my way up to be one of the best because I had a really good conversion rate. Like 1 in 3 clients would convert. I had a 33% conversion rate. And it was easy because I was able to then look at that. What loan would I give my mom? What loan makes the best sense for this individual or this family? And I would ask them, so what kind of home are you looking for? How long do you plan to stay there? So I would give that customer options. And it's really rewarding because you know that you're doing the utmost best service for that family or individual. I did so well that they're like, listen, kid, can you train others? I'm like, yeah, I could train more loan officers. Absolutely, I love giving back. So I trained others. And then from there, I'm like, wait a minute, there's more to this. So then I started, I wanted to go into outside sales. So I went from being in a call center environment to outside sales, and I'm from California. And I had an opportunity to be a loan officer in an area called San Fernando Valley. San Fernando is super diverse, affordable. It's not as costly as right inner LA downtown or LA proper. So it's a suburb, San Fernando, and it's predominantly Hispanic. So I'm like, okay, if these are my people, I can help my people. I can help the diverse communities. So I went out there and I started realizing that there was free money with affordable lending through down payment assistance. So I'm like, wait a minute, there's free money that we can help the community. So I started really advancing and reading the guidelines again and understanding. It was back to homework, back to basics. Killed a lot of trees, started looking at the programs. And so it was layered financing. So you can provide one loan with another one and give that client more down payment, use it for closing costs, so the borrower would become less to close and have better opportunities. And back then in the 90s, it was very easy to do, and I became known in the community for providing down payment assistance. So when I would look at the client, again, what loan would I give my mom? And I'm like, wait, have you considered? But when I realized that the down payment, there's a formula to it. So if a client makes a certain income limit, certain debt ratios and credit scores, you can give them that layered financing. So that's how I became known in the community with other realtors and the clients. And once you help one client, oh my gosh, it's a big referral stream.
Word of mouth, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And then the city or the county say, hey, she's doing a great job, let's put her on the website. So my phone was ringing nonstop. And then they wanted me to train on affordable lending. But then they're like, wait a minute, would you be interested in management? So then I got into the management.
Can I stop you right there? Because I want to ask you something about, we talk a lot about people in communities,
Yes.
especially communities where we want them to better understand the options they have in order to get into their first home. Was it helpful for them to see another Hispanic person coming to them? Do you think that built trust because they saw you as a member of their community?
100%.
100%. Yes.
Because one, you build that trust. Trust is critical. You speak the same language. You have the same values or culture. Yes. So they see you as an ally. You're one of us.
A trusted resource.
Right. You're a trusted advisor. You're one of us, and you look like me, and you get me. So it's very easy to work with the diverse segments. What we want to do is have more minorities in residential lending. I would love to have a big residential lending community of diversity to mirror the communities that we serve. So if you want to be successful, let's say Los Angeles, 48% is Hispanic. I want a force to have 48% in my staff. Oh. Because you have to mirror the communities that you serve. You have to know the demographics of that area to make more of an impact. Because it's just like everything else, more diversity, it's a better portfolio, you're doing the right thing.
And I know I interrupted your journey,
but
clearly they saw that you had, that you had what it takes in order to penetrate that market, and they were promoting you up, right? So that you could teach others how to do the homework, how to make the loans work. So tell me about the rest of it.
So I was doing really well, but I'm like, you know what if I did this on my own? So I decided to become self-employed and open up my own mortgage shop. And I was doing really well, I was thriving, and then it wasn't just doing one way of business, because when you work for one institution, it's their way, and you have certain products, but when you're a broker or correspondent lender, you have, oh my God, hundreds of programs. So I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, oh my God, I have A, B, C, all these banks, different type of lenders, alternative lenders, Alt-A, like you name it, I was able to do it, and I was thriving. And I brought in a team, we were doing really well, and then lo and behold, the mortgage meltdown hit.
It hit hard.
It hit hard.
Yes.
So at that time, I'm like, you know what, I love being in the green, not in the red, so it's time for me to close up shop, because the programs that I really liked doing were closing, and the rates started going higher. There was less inventory out there and less programs available. The options weren't there for layered financing, so I went back to corporate America. And at corporate America, I was doing fantastic again. I started in affordable lending. They needed affordable lending business development officer. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my expertise. Yes. I know affordable lending like the back of my hand. So I did really well there. And then I got 2 more promotions at that bank, and I loved it. But then they're like, Vanessa, we're sorry, but we've eliminated this position. So here I am. It doesn't matter how well you are, people are replaceable. So it was the first time in my career I got laid off.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wait, what? I got laid off. Yes, we're all replaceable. So that's where it really compelled me to go back to school and start the journey to go back and get my doctorate. But when I went back to school, I wanted to do something fun for me. I didn't want to go back to get a doctorate in business because I had my MBA and my other degrees, but I wanted something executive leadership. Why? Because I wanted to know what good leadership looked like because of the global meltdown, the mortgage meltdown. They were blaming the realtors, they were blaming the lenders, and they're like, it was those loan officers. They gave us that option. I'm like, wait a minute, time out. First of all, who created those programs and what were those derivatives? Because I promise you, it wasn't the front line. It was from top down. So I wanted to know what that good leadership looked like, and explore that journey. So that's when I went back to school, and it really propelled me, and it gave me a different value. It gave me the value of reading, research, and writing, a lot of research. So not only was I now able to originate, but then I started thinking in a different way as an educator as a scholar practitioner. So that brought my journey back to school. But then I still had to work. You know, you can't be a scholar all your life. So when I got laid off, for the first 8 months, I was really enthralled with school, learning, until I waited for that right position. Because the higher you go up your rank, not every day is that position going to be available. Correct. So you have to wait for it. And I had the luxury of waiting for it. Because again, real estate and lending is so fruitful that if you know what you're doing, then you're going to be blessed also with the fruits of your labor. So I was able to relax, read, study, be an educator, and then go back to get a great position.
Oh, that is awesome. So I have a question for you. Can you provide tips on how the industry can continue to evolve and remain innovative?
That's a great question because the market is ever evolving.
It is.
Number one, you will never stop learning in residential lending because guidelines change, investors change, the innovation continues to evolve. So you have to be constantly reading. You have to be constantly a member, such as mPower and MBA, because you have to read the reports, what's happening to the market. You have to look at the data. Who are those buyers with HMDA? With the deeds that are recording, you start looking at the trends to see what is happening. And we have right now a housing crisis. We don't have enough inventory. And then we had, I think of Charles Dickens, it was the best of times and worst of times. Because with the pandemic, my God, it was like the tsunami. You had one to work from home. That's never been done. You had processing at home. Then you had the best rates in the history of mortgage lending.
Yes.
And people are buying. So it was an explosive, wonderful time for us because here we are giving the best rates in our lifetime. And then that brought up the housing stock. We bought homes. We looked at space differently. So that really propelled us to look at different space technology differently. So it's ever evolving technology. And I think with the pandemic, it fast tracked us by 5 years. Like everybody got comfortable working from home and looking at that little, lens, the webcam. Yeah. So we got comfortable in our skin. Like right now, I'm comfortable with all these cameras. But back then I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. So you have to keep evolving and reading and knowing what's happening and really being part of a community, whether it's a trade organization, MBA, you have to be in the know of what's happening locally and nationally to stay up with the trends because it's always evolving. It's very static.
That is excellent advice. From now on, I'm just going to call you Dr. Vanessa. And my key takeaway is continue to do the research, watch the trends, and don't assume one size fits all because it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Thank you so much for being with me today.
You're so welcome.
I've learned a lot.
It's an honor. Thank you. Gracias.